Hey YouTube, Richter Scale Studios. This is David again. I know I'm jumping back and forth right now with doing the display base runway, and then I don't think I discussed this, but I smashed the plane walking up my little metal staircase. I dropped it, and what happened? I'll put a little picture up now, right here, up for a few seconds. You can see that there's new foot pedals. They got snapped off, so I designed new ones, and they have like actually a little more detail to them now. I broke off the tail. I have it in there and puttied. It wouldn't set back right. Snapped the engines off, and I put new cowlings. You can see where the old ones covered when they got that first little layer of preliminary primer, and so I made smaller ones with smaller rivets. These are 1mm rods I cut up, and they're a little bit longer than, but I wanted some detail to pop out. It looks like they just, like when there was like a rivet gun and just popped on some sheet metal to cover up the hoses and the connections of the engines to the wings. What else happened? We snapped off both sides of this, and we're going to replace that, and then lost a couple hoses too when this broke, and I tried to put it back, but I'm going to one second. I used a tool and mixed some what is it called? Some kind of sculpt with green stuff. So it's a harder material after it dries, a little more durable, and it's easier to work with than green stuff by itself. And this green stuff I have is kind of old, so we have some new hoses we can put together. So that's going to be repaired before I start throwing primer on this thing. I forgot all about that. But I did want to see what this wing does, because I can do the wing. I want to see what the tail looks like without. I can repair those engines before I prime them. I'm going to throw a little primer on it. I got it in the Grex, and I just want to see how that blends in. We're going to repaint this whole plane anyways. I just threw that color on, and that doesn't look too bad. So we're okay. Let's see. Let's go on this side. We'll rub a lot of that primer off anyways. This Grex is laced up like this thing's an animal, this gun. Isn't that beautiful? That's just flawless atomization. And this is the, I barely thinned out the Steiner res. Let's go on top of here real quick. And we'll just, on this part, we'll just be part of repairing and getting this thing primed. Try to get all that blended in again. Yeah, I don't want to get too much on the back side of that. I just want to see what it looks like all blended. Oh, ran out of primer. I like running the Grex without the bowls on them. I just use that little thing like that. It's probably smaller than the Sotar. But it forces you to clean your gun more and less cleanup. Look at that. It's amazing. That looks awesome. Look in this the whole top of this wing, get it all back to. Look at that. Nice. So, I'll get this too, get all this put together, because we need the we're out of primer. So I'm gonna come back and we'll repair that piece, then come back and prime the whole thing. But I just wanted to see what that looks like on especially the tail. I was really worried about that with the, it does look like a shitty weld line now, which is fine for Orks. and we'll try to accentuate it too to make it look like it's something they welded together real quick. So that is it for right now. We'll be back. Thanks. All right, we are back. Just kind of extending this thing on the airplane repair we went through. Since you last seen it, I threw a little bit of primer just to make sure it looked okay with the cowling and the rivets. Really kind of fits with it better than the old one did, as you saw in that photo in the last section. Also, I just realized I forgot to glue in some exhausts, and they had some kind of crappy connection, so I had to putty them. And just like a little, make it look like a little weld mark. So just kind of close it. It was just like too much of a, it looked too unfinished. Oh, okay, and then I showed you briefly the hoses I made. Here they are, and this was a combination of 50% of this old green stuff I had, which is really hard to work with, especially when it gets older. But I love this stuff. When you mix it 50-50, this is Magic Sculpt. And it makes it like a really soft, almost a dough feeling. Almost feel like cookie dough. That's what I guess, like a really, like a stiffer cookie dough. So it's a little easier to work with. And here is Green Stuff Industries. Here's, can you read that? You can just, there's a new one they make now. It's clear, which actually can see your work while you're working it. What is, you put the, make a little cylinder, and you have these little teeth. You can see that on your, on my monitor on my camera is not very friendly to me. And then you roll it back and forth and push it, and you can make it any diameter you want, or you can put an angle to it and make it a tentacle or whatever you want. And you saw those broken sections. Well, here they are, repaired, and they look pretty damn good. It almost looks like they have wire with a rubber boot, like you've seen on on your car, on like probably your struts of your car and your steering, and you've probably seen it. Where else have I seen these before? On your handbrakes on your bikes, they always have like some kind of rubber thing over the wire. So that's kind of what it looks like now, and it looks finished. So those destroyed pieces, which I still cannot find when it hit the ground, ended up a part of my kitchen, under some stools on my bar, and my dining room. I mean, it exploded. And it's back together pretty thoroughly. I'm not sure these pedals are going to, I might have made them too high, but they look so much better than they did. And I hit them with a little bit of primer to blend them in. And those engines, exhausts, those look, I like how that adds so much more detail onto the engines. So I'm going to end this part here. So this plane, I have to say it is ready for a new primer coat, and then we're going to start painting it. I see a little more repair areas where I had some super glue hit on that, but I think that should be okay. I don't know how I can get that off. I'm going to have to just say it, just some junk on there. But maybe I'll try to clean it up a little bit. This little area right here. There's some old glue residue. So that'll be it, and we'll end this is part 18, because this is kind of jumping around, especially when we have this little setback. As usual, thank you for joining me.